If possible, we shall discuss that Bell's theory, and because they are very nice to. It's very convincing. Okay, so look at here. Bell again. He proposed this theory so that it should be either of this one. You should take either of these two stand, not this one. That either quantum mechanics is incomplete theory, it has some hidden variable kind of thing, or this orthodox position, that is correct. I mean, without doing measurement, you can't say anything about it. That is the nature. So that is the orthodox position. So actually, again, later, after disproval of that one, so this orthodox position will stand actually. Again, so before that, Bell's discovery also, you can convince yourself that the whole theory works, am I right? That's why can't we accept that? So it can predict new thing. So it will work like that. And just read out the article that he mentioned in the footnote, okay? Footnote of those pages. It will be very nice. And yeah, let me now move on. Just have a brief idea about probability from your NCERT textbook or something. Okay? Yeah. So now, again, what we have done yesterday on, again, you don't have any homeworks on this one. I hope you finished that Jetili homeworks on whatever we have done yesterday. And practice integration, usually gamma function integration. Yeah. So now let me again start this differential equation. Where we stopped? Bernoulli's equation and homogeneous equations. Am I right? Yeah, Bernoulli's equation and homogeneous equation. Now let me get into exact equations. Okay. Yeah, there are reducible to homogeneous also. Just briefly go through that one. Okay. I hope that's not much important in our applications. Let me take exact differential equation. Yeah, can you write? A differential equation of the form, m of x comma y m dx plus n of x comma y dy is equal to 0. Is said to be exact. Is said to be exact. That means exact differential equation if left hand side is the exact differential of some function. Exact differential of some function. So let me say that one as u of x comma y. Now look at here, if you have any function u of x comma y, okay, how do you take difference? Usually you have to go like this, am I right? U of x plus dx comma y plus dy minus u of x comma y, am I right? So this is the small difference of that function. So between between 2 points, x comma y and x plus dx comma y plus dy. isn't it? Function at x comma y, function at x plus dx and y plus dy. Is that okay? Small difference, okay? Now look at here. So this whole thing can be written as, so if this whole thing, this whole thing, what is this one? M dx plus n dy, okay? If this can be written as, so this kind of difference, we call it as d of u actually. So d of u, is that okay? Then we say this whole equation is exact actually. And this is exact differential equation. Is that okay? We say this whole thing is exact and which can be written as difference of some other function. Du means, so difference between 2 points. Difference, so difference between 2 values of this function u. Is that okay? If you can write this one like this, then we say this is exact and our differential equation becomes du is equal to m dx plus n dy is equal to 0. Is that okay? This is the differential equation. Okay, if this is written like this, actually we say in that case exact differential of some function. We say, so this is exact differential. This function, we say itself, it has an exact differential. We say like that. The function which can be written like this, we say that is as a exact differential actually. Wait a second. If you have function of 2 variable, I hope you know this part of calculus, du. What is du? Dou u by dou x dx plus dou u by dou y dy. Am I right? If it is exact differential, if any function, so if it is a function of x and y, then only you can write like this. If it is a function of x and y, then only you can write the change in u between 2 points, isn't it? So that is the meaning. Okay, let me just explain this one in thermodynamics later, because this application to thermodynamics, or we need this idea over there. Okay, wait a second. We say, we call this kind of function as exact. We call this kind of function which has an exact differential. We say like that. We say u is an exact differential. Usually in case of thermodynamics, I think your pressure is exact differential, volume is exact differential. Is that okay? dV, you can write like this. Volume between two thermodynamical points or 2 states of thermodynamics. Is that okay? So now, similarly, so average energy difference. These are difference between 2 states of thermodynamics usually. But if you say work done, dW, but work done is not any change in work or something. It is done on the system or by the system. We call it as inexact differential. Is that okay? We call these things as exact differential. The main application is over there about this exact differential. This is said to be exact if left hand side is an exact differential of some function, then left hand side I can write like this. Am I right? So that means then total this equation becomes du is equal to m dx plus n dy is equal to 0, isn't it? So now look at here. If this happens, look at here. If du equal to 0, that means u of x comma y is equal to constant. That is the solution. Is that okay? This differential equation is said to be exact if left hand side is some exact differential of some function. Is that okay? And then the whole equation, this equation will become du equal to 0. If du equal to 0, u should be constant. Is that okay? And that u equal to constant is the solution of this differential equation. Is that okay? You better just remember this one. Is that okay? If it is exact, so then you can write it like this. And then this is the solution. Now, how do you check whether this kind of function exists or not? So that you can write du is equal to m dx or plus n dy, isn't it? Are you getting my point? Or for m dx plus n dy, whether you can able to write that one as du or not, isn't it? How do you check that one? So that is method of checking exactness of the differential equation. The necessary and sufficient condition for differential equation to be exact is necessary and sufficient condition so for equation to be exact, so that is, so dou m by, pick out, if dou m by dou y is equal to dou n by dou x, so then we say that equation is exact, and we can write this m dx plus n dy as a differential of some other function, and that function is equal to constant. That is your solution. Yeah, how do you prove this one? Yeah, we better to start with u, am I right? We better to start with u. Wait a second. So u is a function of x and y. That's what I said. Am I right? How do you write du according to our calculus? Du is nothing but again u of x plus dx comma y plus dy minus u of x comma y. Is that okay? Du is nothing but change in u. Look at here. I try to apply that one to thermodynamics. In thermodynamics, you can have change in pressure, am I right? For any thermodynamical system. You can have change in volume. You can have change in average energy. But you can't have change in work. Change in heat. That itself is meaningless. Isn't it? That's why heat, work, they are inexact differential in thermodynamics. And your average energy, pressure, volume, entropy, those are exact differential actually. That's where we are going to apply this one. Is that okay? That's why I think you need to understand this one, okay? So if u is a function of x and y, definitely you can write du, am I right? Which is a, what you call, difference of this function between 2 points in a plane, am I right? U of x comma y means your domain is a plane, isn't it? Your domain of the function is a plane. It's a function of 2 variables. I have taken function of 2 variables. Is that okay? That means if you have taken, I mean 2 points in a plane, x comma y and x plus dx comma y plus dy, and you have taken difference of the values of this function. So value of the function at those points. So now this can be written as dou u by dou x into dx. I think this is also some fundamental theorem. Am I right? In case of calculus. I don't know how to prove. I think they will start with limit only. They'll try to prove this one using limit only. Okay. So plus dou u by dou y into dy. Is that okay? Now look at here, let me differentiate this first one, dou u by dou x, okay, dou u by dou x with respect to y. We call that one as dou square u by dou y dou x. And second one, I'm going to differentiate with respect to x, dou by dou x of dou u by dou y. We are going to write that one as dou square u by dou x dou y. Usually these two should be equal. Dou square u by dou y dou x should be equal to dou square u by dou x dou y. Order of the derivative doesn't matter actually. Whether you take derivative with respect to y then x or derivative with respect to x then y, it doesn't matter. Is that okay? So these two should be equal. That is nothing but that condition. Wait a second. Let me try to prove that one. So let me start with this one. Suppose m dx plus n dy is equal to du. Suppose it is like this, then let me prove the condition. Suppose it happens like this. So then again, according to this equation, du should be equal to, speak out, dou u by dou x dx plus dou u by dou y dy. So now look at here, m and n role are played by, then m should be equal to dou u by dou x, n should be equal to dou u by dou y. Now take dou m by dou y. What is this one? Dou square u by dou x dou y dou x. Take dou n by dou y. That's equal to, so dou square u by dou x dou y. These two should be equal. That's it. Dou n by dou x. These two should be equal. But it is very difficult to guess which function whose differential, exact differential is this one, isn't it? That's why we yeah, is that okay now? Dou m by dou y is equal to dou n by dou x. That is the, what do you call, condition for exactness. Am I right? Now look at here. Yeah, okay. If we check that whether the equation is exact or not, okay. If suppose it is exact, how to solve it one? Look at here. So we said it can be written like this: dou m dx plus n dy. That's equal to 0. Am I right? Then u is equal to constant is the solution. Okay, it's very difficult to guess this one. What is the function whose du will be this m dx and n dy, given m dx and n dy. So that's why we have to follow the method of solution. The method of solution is, so in this equation, if it is exact, if that satisfies that equation, you have to integrate m dx by taking y equal to constant plus integral of terms of n not containing x. Terms of n not containing x to dy is equal to c. This is the solution. Since we can't guess that u whose du is equal to m dx plus n dy, we'll go for this method. Again, you can find the proof. Yeah. So shall I take one example? So alpha by x dx plus beta by y dy is equal to 0, where alpha and beta are constant. Now wait a second. You'll get 0 equal to 0. Then what will you do? Then try to find that u. Again, I have given this example because you should be able to find u without getting into that method. Can you find that u whose du is this one? Can you guess that one? Suppose u is this one. Is that okay? What is du? Dou u by dou x dx plus dou u by dou y dy. And you get my point. In this kind of function, you should be able to guess that one. Or suppose some other simple function. You don't have to again get into that one. Now look at here, that will be become. So what is this one? Alpha by x dx plus beta by y dy, isn't it? If this is equal to 0, that means u is equal to constant, that's your solution. What is u? Alpha log x plus beta log y is equal to constant. That's how you can write. Okay, this question again, this is given so that you should be able to guess what is that u whose du is this one. Actually, that is possible to get some function whose du is this one. So that is possible to find that kind of function only when this is satisfied. Yeah, that is satisfied here. 0 equal to 0. Dou m by dou y, dou n by dou x, that's equal to 0. Is it clear? Now, let me take here one example from Grewal. One plus 2xy cos of x square minus 2xy dx plus sine of x square minus x square dy. M here, n here. What is dou m by? First check out whether it is exact or not. Okay, dou m by dou y. What is this one? 0. So 2x cos of x square minus 2x. So dou n by dou x. Yeah, sine of x square, differentiation is cos of x square, again differentiation 2x minus 2x. Yeah, these two are equal. That is exact. Now, in this kind of equation, it is almost impossible to guess which u will give du this one. Isn't it? That's why you have to follow that method. So, the method is, so integrate. So, shall I write here itself? Integration of this one by treating y equal to constant. Integration of terms of n which is not containing x. There is no terms of n which is not containing x. That's why this will be 0. Terms of n not containing x, that is 0. There is no term in n which is not containing x. Don't write something here, okay? That's equal to, wait a second, dy is equal to constant. That is your solution. By treating y as a constant, you have to, what do you call, you have to, so integration of 1 dx plus integration 2y outside, integration of x into cos x square dx minus again 2y outside, integration of x dx is equal to constant. This is 0. How do you do this integral? Yeah. Figure out. Put x square equal to t, 2x dx equal to dt. 2y, if you put x square is equal to t, 2x dx is equal to dt, x dx is equal to dt by 2. Am I right? Integral of, so x dx is dt by 2 whole divided into cos t into dt by 2 after substitution. Again, then you have to substitute for t. Minus 2y into x square by 2 is equal to, see, x plus 2y into cos t integration sin t. Am I right? Sin of x square 4 divided by 2, 2 got cancelled, minus yx square is equal to c. X plus y sin x square minus yx square is equal to c. That's correct. Okay. X plus y sin x square minus yx square is equal to c. Do it yourself. Yeah, I hope along with this mathematics questions, yeah, now solve all example problem and outside problem, okay, on exact differential equation from Grewal. And I hope you have solved all questions related to Newton's law of cooling, electrical circuits, parachute problems, then what else? Radioactive decay, okay. Yeah, actually I better to take that radioactive decay question, successive decay question, isn't it? We have done only one decay. So we shall take some successive decay question. Let me try to do that one, okay? So practice this one, okay? All of this first order differential equation. Actually, some more differential equation techniques are needed, okay, for CSIR exam. Let me skip that one for a time sake. I'll cover it later. Is it okay? Equation of first order higher degree. Those kind of questions are also asked in CSIR exam. But since that is not quickly required for our theory, I'm going to just skip that one, okay? Later part of that first order differential equation. Is it clear? First order and higher degree. We shall cover it later because, so in the next class, I want to quickly come to the linear differential equation of higher order, okay? Because your Schrodinger equation is second order and we should be able to solve that one. Wait a second. Now what I'm talking about? Yeah, wait a second. So there is one nicely designed question here in Mariel Wars, and in one CSIR exam, the designed question on it. What is the page number? Can you take this question? Yeah, wait. Let me see. Radium decays to radon. Radium decays to radon. Radium decays to radon, which decays to polonium. Which decays to polonium. Which decays to polonium. If at t equal to 0, if at t equal to 0, if at t equal to 0, a sample is pure radium. A sample is pure radium. how much radon does it contain at T? How much radon does it contain at T? It's a kind of mathematical model. How much radon does it contain at T? Okay. So N naught is number of radium at T equal to 0. Is that okay? N1 of T, number of radium at some T, instantaneous values of radium nucleus. Is that okay? N2 of T is number of radon. Look at here, we will not talk about polonium. Is that okay? In case of single decay, will you talk about daughter nucleus, number of daughter nucleus? No, you will talk about how fast the given nucleus decay. Am I right? So this is radium. Wait a second. Radium decaying into radon, decaying into polonium, isn't it? Now you don't need any information about polonium. Okay, you need radon at some later time, isn't it? That's the question. You need later, so radon at a later time. If at T equal to 0, sample is completely what you call radium. Is that okay? That's the question. If radium decays into radon and radon decays into polonium, you don't need polonium information at all. Is that okay? But you should know that radon is also decaying. Is that okay? Now look at here. Number of radon at time T. Now let me take lambda 1 is a decay constant here, lambda 2 is a decay constant here. I mean, how fast it will decay? Decay constant means, suppose earlier I have written dN by dt proportional to n like that. Isn't it? Then we have written dN by dt is equal to minus lambda into n. Am I right? This is called as decay constant. Let me say from radium to radon, decay constant is lambda 1. Radon to polonium, decay constant is lambda 2. Remember, they need not be equal. Are you getting my point? Rate of decay of radium to radon need not be equal to rate of decay to radon to polonium. That it be two different values, lambda 1 and lambda 2. Is that okay? So now we have to formulate. So you need, what is this one? Radon. Am I right? Now look at here. It is simultaneous event. Okay, radium is decaying to radon, radon to polonium. Now if I just take only this part, if I have radon, so rate of decay of radon proportional to number of radon. Am I right? So just like our radioactive law. So that is equal to, so minus lambda 2 into N2 of T. Can I write like this? But look at here. So radon is decaying to polonium, but simultaneously radium is decaying to radon. Am I right? The rate of decrease of radium is equivalent to rate of increase of radon because of this decay. It is not one-sided, remember. So if you just erase this one, then this is true. This equation is true. Is that okay? Radon is decaying into polonium in this rate. So now this equation is okay. But radium is decaying into radon, which is trying to increase that one. That's why I have to write plus lambda 1 into N1 of T. Wait a second. Let me write the equation here. Okay, dN1 by dt is equal to minus lambda 1 into N1. Am I right? This is the rate at which radium decays. That is equal to rate at which increase of radon because of this decay. Now look at here. So dN2 by dt, so that's equal to minus lambda to N2. Am I right? This is rate of decay of radon to polonium. Radon is decaying to polonium, so by this rate, and that again radon number is decaying by this rate. Is that okay? and simultaneously its number is increasing by this rate. That's why I have to put plus here. Now modeling is done. Once you write this equation, modeling is done. But look at here, how do you solve? You have n2 as well as n1 and t, three variables. What will you do now? First find n1 using this equation, using this initial condition. Isn't it? So you have, what is that to n1? n1 is equal to n0 into e power minus lambda 1 into t. Because we already solved that kind of equation, am I right? Where n0 is the initial number of nucleus. So can I just substitute that one here? So look at here. Actually, this is wrong. This should be like this. Are you getting my point? When I have written here, I was thinking only about radon to polonium. Is that okay? This should be added here. But this is right because radium is decaying to radon only. So nothing else is decaying to radium. Is that okay? It has started with radium. So that's why whatever I have written is to show that how fast radon is decaying to polonium. Okay? How fast it is decaying to polonium. But this will add up. Okay? This rate will add up to this one. This is the actual equation for radon. Is that okay? This is the actual equation for radon. Now look at it. Now you have to substitute this one. dN2 of t by dt, that's equal to minus lambda 2 N2 of t plus lambda 1 into N0 e power minus lambda 1 t. Now this can be written as dN2 by dt plus lambda 2 N2 is equal to e lambda 1 N0 lambda 1 or lambda 1 N0 into e power minus lambda 1 t. This is linear differential equation in terms of n and t, n2 and t. n2 is number of radon. dy by dx p of x into y is equal to q of x. Now this step is very important in all of those questions. Look at here. This step is very important. Forming the differential equation, it is almost done. And one more initial condition is given. Can you just get the idea? Sample is initially purely radium. Am I right? That means, so N2 at time t equal to 0 is equal to 0. Number of radon at time t equal to 0 is 0. At time t equal to 0, it was purely radium. That initial condition I have already taken to write this one, okay, initially. So to solve this one. Now when you just solve this one, look at here, what would you get? Integrating factor. E power integral of lambda 2 dt, that's equal to e power lambda 2t. Am I right? So solution N2 into integrating factor e power lambda 2t is equal to, so integration of integrating factor lambda 2t into, so lambda 1 N0 into e power minus lambda 1t dt plus c. Over. So N2 into e power lambda 2t, that's equal to lambda 1 N0 into integral e power lambda 2 minus lambda 1 t dt plus c. So N2 e power lambda 2 t, that's equal to lambda 1 N0 e power lambda 2 minus lambda 1 t whole divided by lambda 2 minus lambda 1 after integration plus c. Now substitute this condition. At time t equal to 0, N2 is equal to 0 because sample was purely radium. There was no radon at time t equal to 0. So put that condition 0 lambda 1 N0 divided by lambda 2 minus lambda 1 is equal to plus C. Am I right? That means C is negative of this one. So ultimately, when you substitute, what would you get? When you substitute, you will get n2 into e power lambda 2t, that's equal to, so lambda 1 and lambda 1 n naught divided by lambda 2 minus lambda 1 into e power lambda 2 minus lambda 1 t. Wait a second, this one I can take common. I can write e power lambda 2 minus lambda 1 t minus 1. I can write like this. Because this is equal to minus of this one, you can take that one common. Now divide that one by e power lambda 2t. n2 at t, that's equal to n1 lambda 1 n naught divided by lambda 2 minus lambda 1 e power minus lambda 1t minus e power minus lambda 2t. Just check it out. If you are getting difficulty with this one, you better to solve application of derivative, okay, from NCERT text. Where? Question number 20. Extend the radioactive decay problem to one more stage, okay, lambda 3. So that will become one more lambda 2 n2. You have to substitute this one into next equation. If you are getting difficulty with this one, go back to application of derivative question, because in application of derivative, whatever the differentiation you have understood, you should try to use that one to model the problem. Is that okay? So try to do some application of derivative question from NCERT textbook and try to do it again. Okay, you will understand that one. Modeling is the main step here. Or even you can think very logically. What is that? Yeah, I'm talking about rate of change of N2. Am I right? That rate of change of N2, I mean that is due to two different things. One is it is decaying to polonium, and it is increasing because of radium decay. Am I right? Radium decay is minus lambda 1 n1. So radon to polonium decay is minus lambda 2 n2. So this should decrease the number. This should increase the number. That's it. Are you getting my point? So that's why you can just write. So this should decrease the number minus lambda 2 n2. So this should increase the number plus lambda 1 n1. Lambda is positive, n is positive. Are you getting my point? So are you getting my point? This effect should try to decrease the number of radon. This effect should try to increase the number of radon. This is the first step, whatever I have written. That's done over there. Rest of thing will be interlinked together and it will proceed as well. Try to do it yourself, the whole problem.